Edge of Eternity was developed by Midgar Studio and was released in 2021 on PC and then later on in February of 2022 for PlayStation 4, 5 and the Xbox family of systems and the Nintendo Switch. The game was crowdfunded and released in early access in November of 2018, and the developers listened to fan feedback and wanted to put things in that people wanted. They took inspiration from Final Fantasy VII, hence also naming their studio after it, so I give them props for that. Now, it is a JRPG of sorts. There is turn-based combat on like a hexagonal grid thing, so you can utilize shifting out of the way of incoming enemy attacks when your square or hexagon is highlighted red, and you can also utilize different attacks, stabbing them in the back for extra damage, using different magic. There are plenty of areas to explore. There are side quests. There is a mount that you can get quite early on in the game. Now, this gameplay footage is from the very first open free roam area of the game. I don't like giving too much gameplay from later on in the game because sometimes you do get some angry people citing that as major spoilers, which blows my mind. But there you go. However, the game doesn't have the best of starts. Unfortunately, this game's biggest crime is that it feels like it should have come out on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, and that's just being honest. I'm not just because the game was crowdfunded and is more of an indie game doesn't give it a pass. It was reviewed pretty lukewarm, averaging around a 6 out of 10, so slightly above average. The animations can be a bit weird at times. The facial animations are a bit wooden. The voice acting is okay. The story is standard fare. It's nothing amazing and whatnot. However, what is here, there is some charm within the game, and it does remind me of older JRPGs that came out around the time of 360 and PS3. The game has everything it should need to be a Japanese role-playing game, but apart from that, it is a budget title. I would not recommend picking it up at full price, even though the full price isn't that bad, but I'd say it's worth... I don't mean that sounds like I'm dissing the studio. I am not. I'm sure they poured their heart and soul into it. However, for the price of the game and the genre it's in, there are unfortunately much better games out there. But that can be said for a lot of other games, and it's all down to personal preference. However, if you're liking what you're seeing and you are in between major releases, say, and you've got a tenner to spare and you want to spend £10 on a game, if this game's on offer for about £10, yes, absolutely, pick it up, go for it, even 15 quid. Grab it. I've had fun with it, There's monster hunts that you can get from a board, and you can run around and hunt those monsters. You can collect materials that can be used for crafting. You can sleep at inns. You have to keep your party's stamina up, which is pretty cool, and there's a day and night cycle with, depending on what time of day or night it is, depends on what monsters, quests and hunts are available at that time, so that's pretty cool. And like I said, the fact that you get the mount pretty early on by doing a side quest, it's a weird cat horse thing, is a big help to help you move around the open world. There is some funny dialogue, and the main character, Darian, who is a young soldier whose world's been invaded by a technologically advanced race, he's a pretty cool guy. Unfortunately, his mother is infected with an alien disease of sorts, so he kind of abandons the military and sets out to find a cure. So, and you get more party members as the game goes on, but the game is long, very long. Too long, in my opinion. And as last week, I smashed the hell out of Final Fantasy 16, which I enjoyed. Coming then and playing this, because this has been on my bucket list of games, so for the past week and a half or so, I've been smashing the crap out of it. I'm glad I played it. I did pick it up cheap. I'm glad I picked it up cheap. But that's just it, unfortunately. At the end of the day, There's nothing here that is standout, nothing breaking the mold. It's turn-based combat. It is open world like Xenoblade, so you can run around these big areas collecting materials and plants, running into... It's not random battles. You can see the enemy and you can go up and slash them to attack first, and then, you know, utilizing it. Its combat is pretty fun, and you can change the camera by clicking the right thumbstick in, which is pretty cool. But apart from that and the monster hunts, but there's monster hunts in a lot of things now, that's what the game is offering you. And the graphics can look really good at times. This is footage from PlayStation 5. The frames do drop here and there, but as the game is like an indie game, fine. I'd rather it not, but okay. But yeah, it's not a terrible game. It's a good game. It's not a terrible game, and it's not a bad game, but it's just... It's okay, it's good. It's good to play. So that is my honest opinions of Edge of Eternity without spoiling too much of the story and anything you may or may not unlock later on down the line. But please let me know in the comments if this is a game that you've played or a game that you have been keeping your eye on. Like I said, if it's cheap, pick it up. If it's full price, I would hold off because, like I said, there are many, many, many games out there at the minute, and for the price point, there are many games that I would rather prefer to play over this one. But thank you very much for watching. Yeah.